Imagine waking up one morning, opening your window, and realizing there's no land left. No cities, no mountains, no forests. Just an endless, rolling ocean stretching as far as your eyes can see. Your house, your street, your entire country, gone, swallowed by waves. The Earth has transformed into a water world. Now ask yourself, how would you survive in a world where solid ground doesn't exist? Picture it, the continents sinking one by one, skyscrapers disappearing beneath dark foaming seas, and humanity scrambling for survival on floating scraps of civilization. The very soil we once stood on is gone. The Earth, once a balance of land and water, has become a restless, endless ocean. Would we find a way to live, or would this watery graveyard claim us all? To understand the horror, let's start at the beginning. Imagine the ice caps melting completely, every glacier on Earth dissolving into the sea. The oceans would rise thousands of feet, flooding valleys, mountains, entire continents. Cities like New York, London, and Tokyo would vanish first. But soon, even Everest, the tallest point on Earth, would be swallowed. Nothing would remain above water. Every human would be forced onto boats, rafts, or massive floating cities built in desperation. Our planet would look like a shimmering blue jewel from space, beautiful but deadly. Life would change in ways you can hardly imagine. Freshwater, for example, would become the rarest treasure. With no rivers or lakes left, humans would depend entirely on desalination, turning seawater into something drinkable. Without it, thirst would be humanity's greatest killer. Food would be another nightmare. Farming on land? Impossible. Our diets would shrink to whatever the oceans could provide: fish, plankton, seaweed. Imagine billions of people competing for the same resources while floating across a limitless sea. Hunger would spread like wildfire. And think about storms. On land, hurricanes eventually weaken when they hit the ground. But on a planet with no land, storms would never die. They would grow stronger, faster, more violent, circling endlessly, tearing apart anything in their path. Floating cities would be ripped to pieces in hours. Imagine towering waves higher than skyscrapers chasing you across the horizon, knowing there's nowhere to hide. But survival doesn't end there. Without land, where would we bury our dead? Where would we store resources? Where would we even stand still without drifting endlessly? Society itself would begin to fracture. Governments would collapse as nations vanish beneath the waves. Pirates, desperate survivors, and floating warlords would rise, turning the endless blue into a battlefield. The ocean would become both a home and a war zone. And yet, humans adapt. Some visionaries might build colossal ocean platforms, floating metropolises like metal islands. Imagine futuristic raft cities linked together, powered by tidal energy and drifting across the globe. People might even evolve over generations, becoming more aquatic, learning to dive deeper, holding their breath longer, living in harmony with a world of endless water. Perhaps our descendants would no longer fear the sea, but worship it as the only reality they've ever known. But here's the darker thought. What if we weren't alone in this new ocean world? The deep sea already hides creatures we can barely comprehend. Giant squids, monstrous sharks, glowing predators in the black abyss. If the oceans covered everything, these creatures would dominate. Humanity's floating cities would be stalked by leviathans rising from the deep, predators older and stronger than us. Imagine the terror of looking down into the water and seeing massive shadows circling beneath, waiting. The truth is, Earth as a water world would be both magnificent and terrifying. A shimmering paradise from space, yet a merciless trap for those forced to survive on it. We would face hunger, thirst, storms, and monsters. Yet still, humanity might endure, clinging to hope as we drift across an ocean without end. So the question remains, if Earth became a water world, would we conquer the waves or drown in them?